Hello. Welcome to the Pharmacy Seeds Network live stream. Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, US. We do the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net via amateur radio. And that's the first half of this stream. The last half of this stream, the last half hour, I go interactive with the users and we chat about farming or gardening or whatever. Amateur radio is not CV, it's a licensed ham band. I can tell you more about it if you want to know more about it, but just for those who are asking. Yeah, we're just going to make sure that the stream is live okay here and everything looks alright, and then we're going to go ahead and start the net here in a minute. Might not be able to chat as much, no problem, Chris. No worries. Glad you're here. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Vidu the Honey, hello, hello. Good to see you in here as well. Glad you made it in. And it's officially 9:30, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and start the net. I don't know if it'll be a very interesting net tonight. We'll see who shows up. I know KD2RFI, who I usually discuss bees with at length in depth, will not be here tonight, or at least I don't think he'll be here. He's working his butt to the bone these days, so he hasn't had the time. V. the Honey. I apologize. Yeah, it's just so easy to read that as V. the Honey. But that's not right. It's V. Honey. I got you. Alright, we're going to start the net. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. The Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net is sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. If you want to know more about our club, please visit our website at www.omarkclub.org. This net is a net basically to discuss farming, gardening, and topics around that. We have a tendency to go all over the place and even get into some technical discussions sometimes too. Well, let's see if there's any check-ins tonight. I don't know, it's usually a busy time of year for people. This is KD2IIN Net Control looking for check-ins for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any check-ins, please call now. Elizabeth, that's right. I am horrible with names, V. So I apologize. Hey, Geeky! You wait, Geeky's gonna write a bot that signs him in like 6 hours early. Alright, no check-ins recognized at this time, so we'll check back in a few minutes. This is KD2IIN. Yep. Gonna be slow without Bob around, I think. Unless maybe K2LD shows up. Might catch him on his commute. That would be nice. Be good to catch up with him. Well, so how's all the live streamers doing? Since our radio net's a bit slow tonight. What's in the cup? Well, let's see. A mixture of many things. 2 different coffees blended together. Beauty Berry. I'll have to check that out, Kiki. Let's see. Costa Rican and Guatemala Antigua. Very heavy on Costa Rican, so probably 85% Costa Rican and 15% Guatemala Antigua. And then we got some fresh raw honey with the beeswax in it. And so I make espresso, so I pour that off super hot and that melts the beeswax. And then I add a little bit of coconut oil to that and kind of emulsify it together. And tonight I decided to try a little flavor twist and throw a little bit of maple syrup in there along with the honey to see how that balances. So I added some of that. and I always put a little half and half in because I like cream in my coffee. So it's actually quite a blend tonight. Thanks for asking. You like my Farming apple cup? Oh yeah, I'm always up all night. With the greenhouse being wood fired, I stoke all night in the winter anyway, so, and I end up working nights, like half of the day and half of the night between the job I have and the farming stuff. It is delicious. I really like how the honey and the maple syrup balance each other out. Hey, you guys are so good with names. I'm so horrible with names. But yeah, it's an excellent cup of coffee, and yeah, I'll be up until at least 1 or 2 for sure. And it's what, 9:30 now? Let's see if there's any check-ins now. Yeah, I really like Geeky as a nickname myself. Yes, the greenhouse is starting to rock up. Yeah, check out that video. You'll see, well, you'll see the beginnings of where we're going. I have all sorts of ideas. Some I may be able to develop out, and some maybe not. Let me just check for check-ins here quick. I'm almost hoping not. I'm enjoying this discussion. This is KD2IIN, Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any check-ins, please call now. Yeah, dead tonight. Which is fine, because I'm enjoying talking to you guys. I don't have an online store, no. For now, because I'm so small scale, I'm going to market locally through like friends and family and that kind of thing. I actually have a couple of friends that probably will buy me out of honey if I let them. Yeah, Geeky's a good name. I like it. So no online store. I do want to put a website up eventually, but I've been holding off on that. Yeah, that's okay. We can cut through typos. We're used to autocorrect. Yeah, Yorkshire George! What's going on, dude? A quick hello before bed. Well, thanks for checking in. How you doing over there? How's things across the pond? See, his name I can't forget. Unless I get so plastered I can't read, but that's pretty plastered, I think. Two fans show up at your place without being invited? Yeah, it's not alcohol, Geeky. I'm not an alcohol person, really. Hey, I called him George. I had it right. And I know where he's from, too. See, that's kind of smart that way. He didn't come up with crazy names like me and Homesteading the Hard Way and Geeky Gardens. And V. Honey. We got weird names you gotta like descramble. Alright, I heard somebody keyed the repeater out there. Is there a check-in for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net? Very good. Yeah, I put out a couple calls. It's been a couple of minutes though. I'm doing good. Glad to hear from you as well. A lot of picket fencing in there. Are you going into range or going out of range?
I'm actually going farther away from you, but I'm climbing an elevation. probably around close to the 1,000-foot mark, maybe close to the 2,000-foot mark. So hopefully it'll get a little bit clearer, and then it's going to vanish completely as it made the last turn.
What are you going, 214?
Come back one more time on that.
Are you going up 214 by any chance?
Yes, Old Back Mountain Road, double kitchen type, 16, yeah.
Oh man, I love that road up there. It's so beautiful up there.
It is pretty. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is pretty.
So true, so true. They had to rescue somebody there this summer who went off on one of those ridges.
Yep, certainly did. I have a beautiful picture of the car being pulled up with a heavy record. It's
Wow.
quite nice. Maybe I'll send it to you when I get home.
I'd love to check it out. Yeah, that was some rescue operation they had to do there. Well, how's things in the garden? Have you had frost up there yet? I hope not yet.
No, not yet. It hit 41 last night. So
41.
It's starting to edge down a little bit, but it's still holding off. I'm still doing my experiment with big trees, keeping one indoors and one outdoors. And one outdoors is starting to really look like fall, that's for sure. One indoors is still looking alive, healthy, and I'm thinking I just might get a second crop this fall.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah. It's nice having the environmental control, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is, that's for sure. But otherwise, environmentally, I went and got all my wood stored up and wrapped for the winter, and
Nice.
had to rebuild parts of the wood stove, so I'm all set with that. I'm pretty much ready. You know it's coming. It's going to be a matter of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, I'm getting wood stoves ready here and getting the greenhouse ready, and yeah, getting ready for heating season again. You're way ahead of me though. I don't have any firewood in yet. I had to go down today and snag a few chunks just to run the stove overnight. I'm drying some calendula flower and sunflower seeds and stuff like that, so got things on the drying rack. But yeah, I was not looking forward to fall yet, but as it's starting to come on, I'm kind of starting to embrace it. I do like starting that fire up at night. You know, the sunsets and the clear days and all, so it's nice.
I do like this time of year. It's quite a bit less buggy than the spring, and it's nice. It's just kind of nice. What do you call it? Just out of curiosity, are you going to make any more salsa this year?
Always the universal question, salsa. Unless a good used gas range falls on my lap and I have a way to sterilize jars, probably not. I've been going back and forth about it. I would really like to make a batch, but I'm not quite set up equipment-wise for it, so I think probably not this year, but I may gear for a batch next year with my grow operation here, and actually grow some excess stuff just specifically to do several batches of that, because I'm down to, I think, 4 pints I got left here in the stock, and I know that's not going to get me through the winter.
No, that's certainly not going to take me through winter, and I'm sure a lot of other people are asking for it as well. So the demand is definitely there. Anyway, I hope the picket fencing went away, because I am over to 1,000 feet now. So I'm about to get to that big turn. So I will right now
Night,
do
Vida.
what you do, and say 50 degrees. And good chat with you. I have a chance, I'll send you a picture for that wreck, just so you can see what was happening. Take care, TJ. Will be.
Sounds good, Bob. Sounds good. Really good to hear from you. Been missing catching up with you, and glad we got a chance to catch a satellite pass. Glad things are going well for you. Glad to hear from you, and I hope you have a safe rest of your trip home. Enjoy that beautiful ride. I know it's not as beautiful at night as it is daytime, but anyway, good to catch up with you. We'll talk to you soon. K2LD, KD2IN, I'll say 7 3s, and you're signed out of the net. This is KD2IIN, net control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. Alrighty, due to lack of check-ins, I think I'm going to go ahead and close the radio portion of the net, and I'm just going to go over and do the live stream here. If you still want to talk about farming and gardening, you can always jump on YouTube on the Pharmacy Seeds Network live stream and chat there. Thanks, Bob, for checking in. Appreciate the check-in. I hope everyone else listening on the repeater has a great evening. This is KD2IIN, net control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. We run the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. here on the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Repeater, 146.805 Megahertz with a PL tone of 103.5. This repeater and this net are sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. The Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, you can find out more about our club by visiting our website at www.omarkclub.org. That's whiskey, 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 Oscar, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, Oscar, Romeo, Golf. There is one other net on this repeater that is Thursday nights at 8 p.m., usually run by K2JLV. You'll check that as well. That's usually a topic-oriented net and very interesting. Thanks to all those who participated. This is KD2IIN saying 7-3, inviting you to join us again next week. This net is officially closed and this repeater is back under regular amateur use. KD2IIN is clear. Blow!
KD2IIN, KD2QQB. I missed the net. Unbelievable, but I'm cooking. I'm having a late dinner.
Okay. It's all good. So, let me roll back in the conversation here, because you had people showing up at your house from YouTube? Yeah, no, that's not acceptable in my book at all. No way. I would be upset if somebody showed up at my house. 2 separate fans, 2 separate times. Yeah, nice or not, that's, it's not acceptable. Yeah, I would never do that to somebody. I would never just show up at someone's house who I'd never been to before, unannounced, and expect to receive a warm welcome. No matter how nice you are or how good your intent is, that's like, you're invading someone's private living space. And if you don't understand that, then I don't want you around me anyway. I'm one of those kind of people. Like, you're in or out, but you gotta know enough to be in, or you're out. Yeah, in public I could see somebody coming up and saying hi. That wouldn't bother me so much, although I'd start to be concerned that I'm getting famous and that scares me, but that I wouldn't mind in public saying hello. Even if I was like out to dinner and they came up, hey, are you such and such? That I wouldn't mind. But showing up at your house, that's a whole nother thing. That would upset me. I might not do YouTube anymore if that happened to me. Yeah, well, yeah, you gotta be careful what you share, Chris. And everybody else. I mean, I'm very careful what I share. Well, that's true, it's the South. But still. Yeah, the common sense topic. Yeah, common sense ain't so common anymore. Yeah, no, I would be upset if somebody just showed up at my house. First of all, I'd want to know how they found out where I'm at, exactly. Because I try not to share that information. I guess you could figure it out from some of the Google Earth imagery. And maybe from other clues, I don't know, probably. But, no, I would not appreciate that. That's the problem. Well, not just that, but like, you know, how do they know you're not in the middle of something important, work-oriented, or sleeping, or just spending some intimate time with your wife, or like I don't show up at people's houses that I do know without letting them know I'm coming first, or asking if it's okay to come over, or if it's a good time. I don't just show up at people's houses And so I don't expect people to do that to me. Now, I have a couple of friends that we kind of have an unspoken, like, you know, if you really need to talk to me, you can just show up. I get it. But in general, no, that's not acceptable. And certainly not from someone I've never met before. I mean, I try to be polite and nice, but I would be pretty, I'd be pretty annoyed underneath. Oh, well, yeah, that's right, because you got your business name right on your shirt. Yeah. And now, is your business out of your house, you know, out of the same address, basically? It is, right? Because that changes it a little bit. But then again, it doesn't, because they're not coming to, like, solicit your services. I don't know. That's a weird situation. I hope that doesn't happen to me. That would bother me. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, for me, I'm a really private person in a lot of ways. Like, I love to, like, share with the people that I know and care about, and I love to be friendly and open to people. But, like, when I want my private space, I don't want that interrupted. And so when people interrupt that, it really bothers me. And, you know, it's one thing if it's a friend and they need something, okay, fine, no problem. But if it's just random people showing up at my house, no. I would come up with a way to make that really uncomfortable for them. And I'd be really creative about it. And they'd never forget it. I mean, they'd never forget it. I'd burn an image into their mind they'd never forget. Yeah, it's about YouTube. That's not acceptable. Watching a video on YouTube does not give you the right to come to my house. Let me be clear. Guard pony in training, there you go. Yeah, maybe you just need to put a bowl out there, Chris. Put a bowl out in the front yard. Problem solved. They ain't gonna knock on the front door. They ain't gonna get to the front door. Yeah, no, that's just not an acceptable way to behave. Yeah, you know, Chris, that's funny. I want to do some classes kind of stuff too. I have a tremendous amount of knowledge I'd like to share with people, and I think I could make some money doing that, like teaching. But part of my problem has been where to do that, because I don't want to bring a bunch of people that I don't know to my house and then having them think it's okay to show up at my house outside of a class time. Because it's not. Frankly. So, my thought is to set classes up somewhere else. I have a couple of locations in mind, but I haven't gotten that far yet. Yeah, well, right. Liability, privacy, security. I mean, you know, those people that showed up were nice, but how do you know you don't have some psycho, like one of these idiots who shoots up a theater or whatever, show up at your house and decide that, you know, you're not farming the way I like, I'm going to shoot you. Like, there are people like that out there. So, you know, I mean, honestly, if I showed up at your homestead, like, and you didn't know me, like, we hadn't talked on the phone and, like, had developed a friendship like that, I just showed up out of the blue from watching YouTube, I would not be surprised to have you pull the shotgun out and say, what are you doing here? Like, I would expect that. Where I come from, I'd expect that. Yeah, hard to get started financially, but I do know some people, and I thought about talking to them about it, because I think it could benefit their business and mine, so we'll see. Beware of the dog. You need a violator, let's see. Trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again sign. That's what you need. Adams Garden Centers. Really? Really, Steve? And hey, what's up, dude? How are you? I didn't realize that. I might have to talk to him about that. They might be a little bigger than I want to deal with, too. But, that might be worth checking out. I didn't know that. Thanks, Steve. You always show up with good tips, man. Glad to hear you're doing well. Off the top of the head, real quick, Steve, how would you feel if you were a YouTuber and someone you didn't know but that had seen some of your YouTube videos showed up at your house to visit you out of the blue? Gut reaction. Dog will bite, stay in vehicle. Yes. Dog will feast, stay in vehicle. And what you need is beware of the Bigfoot. Ah, see? There's 3 for you, Chris. Homesteading the Hard Way had a couple of YouTube fans show up at his house unannounced out of the blue. And he was asking how we would feel about it. So that's where the question comes from. I said, no way. That's not acceptable behavior to me. I would expect going to someone's house like that, I would expect them to come out with a shotgun and ask me what I'm doing there, why I'm trespassing. Might seem harsh, but you don't know who you're dealing with. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, see, Steve thinks the same way as I do, very security-minded. You know, I share a lot of information, but there's a lot of personal stuff I don't share. I don't put my address out. I don't give my regular email address out. I don't give my phone number out. None of that personal information needs to be available to anyone. If they need it, I'll give it to them. Me too, Geeky. I've been on YouTube since 2016. It was finally early this year I finally even did a video with my face on it at all. I was very afraid of that. But at this point I just I've gotten to a point where I just don't care anymore. But that doesn't mean I don't still guard my privacy and security. I do. Yeah. Yeah, I've been very careful about that, Chris. Yeah, identify all the landmarks out of photos and videos. Yeah. All kinds of stuff like that. Because you'd be surprised how easy it is to take a bunch of videos and piece together a tremendous amount of information about a person and figure out where they are and who they are. Having been on that side of things, I know how easy that is to do. You would be amazed what you can figure out. Yeah, I actually pulled a couple of videos back in the spring because I realized the Google coordinates were on them. And I was like, nope, we're not leaving that up. So I pulled the whole video, and I never made a new edited version. I just left it pulled because, you know, it's better that way. It's safer that way. I'm sorry that it got, 65 views before I pulled it. Yeah, that's even more concerned. You know, if it was like a neighbor down the street, it was like, oh, hey, I saw you're on YouTube. Then it's like, okay, they're from your neighborhood, so it still doesn't make it acceptable, but at least they'd have some kind of excuse. We did do the Farmers and Gardeners Net, but there were no check-ins really for the first 15 minutes or so. And then we did hear from K2LD, Bob, briefly on his mobile ride home. He actually went up 214, so it was cool to hear the repeater coverage up that way. But then after he signed out, I called for more check-ins. I didn't hear anybody, so I just closed it because we were talking about all this. And it was interesting, so. So I'm sorry you missed it, Steve. I just didn't run it all that long tonight. Yeah, most are harmless, But you know, all it takes is one psycho. I mean, you don't need 25 you could have, you know, you could have 100 people show up at your house and 99 of them would be cool people and you'd be glad to have met them in person. But the one person that shows up with a weapon and wants to hurt you, that's the person that kills you. Then the 99 are just null and void, right? So you always have to err on the side of caution and security. All right, you're still, what's your antenna situation there, Steve? You have a J-pole, right? How high is that? And what's your power? Right, yeah, we can't figure out which one is the one who's going to show up and try to do harm. So we have to assume everyone showing up is going to try to do harm and greet them in that manner. And then once they've verified themselves as not planning to do harm, then we can talk, but 25 feet, okay. Yeah, a little higher probably get you there. 50 watts though. Well, you must be in the hole of Hyde Park, huh? That dip, that low point in there. Yeah, I just don't want to have to shoot anybody, you know? Like if I can avoid injuring or hurting anyone the rest of my life, that'd be great. And so if they don't show up at my house and put me in that situation, then I don't have to worry about it. So that's why the super err on the side of security. And don't feel bad, Chris. A lot of people don't. They haven't been around. I've been around like missing persons work and like search and rescue and some pretty dark shit. Pardon my French. Yeah, that is one thing about the homestead crowd. Yeah, you have to assume they're armed, because you know you got to defend your homestead from predators and whatever. All threats, foreign and domestic. Right? So, what was I saying? I don't know what I was saying. I guess it wasn't important. But yeah, exactly. You have to assume they're armed. And that's exactly goes back to my point of like, you know, if I showed up at your place out of the blue, I would expect to be greeted with a shotgun. And then maybe once we had a discussion and you realized I wasn't there to hurt you or armed, then you might warm up. Thieving, I'd be worried about thieving too. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any security cameras up? And actually, don't even answer that in the YouTube chat, because we don't want anyone to know that answer. But if you don't, you should think about putting some up. You know, you can get a pretty cheap DVR for with 4 or 8 cameras. So you just have something as a way to watch. I don't have anything like that here at the moment. But I do have other tactics and methods for securing things and protecting things. There's always someone here. A pack of dogs, well, that's definitely a thief deterrent. For sure. Well, and you have pigs too, so you can always get rid of the remnants, whatever the dogs don't clean up. I'm totally kidding on that. But somebody told me, never trust a man who owns pigs. I guess they eat bones and all. I don't know. You would know better than I do, Chris. Yeah, beware of the man with the pig farm. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I can neither confirm nor deny on that myself, but sure you are, he says. Yeah, I would find that disconcerting though. I wouldn't want anybody showing up at my house without, you know, without me knowing they're coming. I would assume they had nefarious intent, whether they did or they didn't. They don't eat them, but they'll walk them deep. Yeah, okay. Well, bones aren't so hard to get rid of anyway once everything else is gone. That's a morbid topic, though. Let's not go there. Let's keep that a passing joke. So you guys about done with harvest season down there yet, Chris? Oh no, you guys still got warm weather ahead of you, huh? Are you digging sweet potatoes yet? My sweet potatoes have still got nice green vines on them. They're cranking. They're getting big, but I think I'm gonna let them roll till the vines kill, frost kill. During business hours. Well, at least it's during business hours. And yeah, I'm sure customers, just come and go as needed. Still, though, that's kind of a weird way to walk in on somebody. But I guess if they came to your business during business hours and they were friendly, I mean, that's the best case scenario of that scenario, right? Worried about ants getting them, really? Yeah, I just want to get them out and move into fall harvest, but I'm, busy harvesting all kinds of other stuff, so 2 weeks, still picking corn. Hemp has a while to go. Oh, you didn't have to disc all that under? You managed to get the retard department to straighten their head out? That's just... Man, was that dumb. For those who don't know, Chris has got a license to grow hemp in North Carolina, or somebody he's farming with does, and they planted hemp, and then the local police department decided that they couldn't distinguish it from cannabis and that they had to disc it under. It's about the most retarded thing I've heard out of a police department in a long time, and I've heard a lot of retarded shit out of police departments. So cooled off to the upper 80s. Yeah, nice. Yeah, we're running about 70s in the midday, and we're actually touching into upper 40s at night now. Yeah, I hear you, Chris. Well, be weary. I mean, that's all you can do now, right? The information's already out there, but whatever's out there that you can pull it back. Oh, that was state police. Well, I'm not going to get into it on YouTube, but I'll put it this way: our political and enforcement systems are corrupted, top to bottom, in various fractions and factions, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I think you're right, Geeky. I think actually didn't Trump sign a bill making hemp production legal? But there's probably still state restrictions because it's under Schedule 1 as cannabis. Basically, it's under the same as cannabis and heroin and coke as far as DEA federal scheduling. Yeah, Carolina hemp should be ready to go. Good point, Stevie. Oh yeah, and then the seed is an excellent protein source with all the right balanced omega-3, 6, 9 oils down the list. I mean, you used to have to grow 40 acres of it so you could outfit ships with rope and flagging, right? And now it's banned. What a twist. All because of a few greedy people back in the day. Yeah, he did, but it's complex because they never leave it simple. They always complexify it. I often wonder if they don't do that just so they can trip you up in the law later on if they decide to put you as a target. but I think it's just it's hard to bring minds around who've been so locked in one way for so long that even when they're presented with 100% positive information, they like won't accept it, or it's just, it's the same problem we have with the political system. Two flavors, neither represents the people. So yeah, politics got in the way. Doesn't it always? Isn't that what politics is for? To get in the way? I really don't see a lot of problems being solved with it, that's for sure. Oh, bad. Well, oh, that's right. You guys had heavy rains and then wicked heat. Yeah, they've had some crazy weather down there. That's right. You had some wicked flooding and all kinds of stuff. Man, knocking on that wood, we've had such an excellent growing season so far. I can't remember one like this in years and years that's been so nice. I wish I had I wish I had more time and energy to put even more crops in and maintain them and run them, but it's hard to keep up with everything at once as one person. I'm sorry, Geeky. Yeah, you guys have had what we had last year, only we had it in reverse. Drought during establishment and then flood and rain all through normal growth season and harvest season. So nothing would get established unless you irrigated, and even if you did, it kind of just caught, and then it went rainy, and so everything started to grow, but then everything just rotted. Garlic that I harvested in July when it was still dry, put in the barn, dried and was curing, molted in the barn under heat lamps with fans on it. Like, frustrating. Fire ants are hard on it. Fire ants are pretty easy to wipe out homesteading the hard way. Ants in general, a little bit of boric acid will do them. You don't want to put too much on because you don't want to hurt your plants, but a little bit of boric acid will wipe them right out. Or you could put down borax as a powder. Yeah, good point, Steve. The Force. You believe in the Force as well, eh? Try some boric acid, Geeky. You might be surprised. I don't know what concentration to tell you, but I'm sure if you shoot one of the consultants at AEA an email asking them what the concentration is for ants, they'll give you a formula. I bet you could wipe them right out. And that said, most of your plants are probably deficient in boron unless you're specifically supplementing for it. So it probably would help your deficiency. And boron's is responsible for all sorts of stuff. Yeah, because boron starts the whole biochemical sequence of nutrition in plants. So get this, and you can look this infographic up on Google. Just type in biochemical sequence of nutrition in plants. Actually, I'll take advantage of this technology we have and drop you a link. Anyway, so boron activates silicon, which carries all the nutrients, starting with calcium, which binds nitrogen to form amino acids, DNA, and cell division. Amino acids form proteins such as chlorophyll and tag trace elements, especially magnesium, which transfers energy via phosphorus to carbon to form sugars, which go where potassium carries them. And so that's the sequence of nutrition in plants, that whole cycle. If any of those pieces are missing, that sequence can't finish and plants can't grow and photosynthesize properly. So, boric acid might help with your ants and boost your growth. Boiling water, yeah. And of course you can't pour that on your plants. So if they're right under a plant, no chemical, all even all natural. Oh, okay. Can't do anything but plow. Phew. Boy, and in drought that doesn't help, does it? And then I think hemp has a very close to the surface root structure. I mean, I know it's got a big tap root, but I think it also puts out a lot of side roots. So if you're plowing all the time, you're cutting your side roots, you're probably damaging some of your roots. Well, you can foliar feed boron. That's what I'm saying, Chris. Cigarette ashtray juice. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that works too. Yeah, there you go, Chris. Since you can't compete on the tobacco price, take the tobacco and use it to wipe out the ants. Make a lose into a win. Screw them if they can't buy your tobacco. Boric acid inside for ants and roaches, but a fire ant nest outside is something else. Well, in all honesty, I've never dealt with fire ants, so they may be an entirely different thing. But I would think that would... Oh, that's true. They don't even have a taproot. Oh, you're running from clones for hemp? You don't go from seed? Really? That's all vegetatively propagated? How big a plot do you guys have? Like, is it acres and acres? Like, they're cloned plants. You're not going from seed? Wow. Devil spawned. Well, there might be. Oh. I got a great song about the devil I gotta share with you. I think you're gonna like this. Check this song out when you get a chance. You have to, they actually do it from clones though. Wow, I wouldn't, I mean, you would get perfect genetic replication that way. But I would have thought they would have gone from seed. I'm surprised that they're going from clones. That's really interesting. 25 acres on 4 farms from clones. What kind of spacing are you running on those? Yeah, of course they are, Steve. That's why they've held the whole legalization thing back, till they could turn it into profit for government and corporate. That's why you still can't grow your own plants in your backyard. That's why you have to go to a dispensary and buy it. So someone else can buy it, they can tax it, they can regulate it, they can screw over the grower, screw over the buyer, screw over the taxpayer, and stick it all in their pocket. And then go out and finance people like Jeffrey Epstein who molest little kids, right? Nice. Yeah, no, cloning is exact genetic copy of the mother plant. 12 feet spacing between rows? Not between plants though, right? Holy crap, 12 feet. Those are some big plants, huh? Oh, 48-inch rows, 12 foot between plants. Or 48, no, there must be 4 foot between plants, right? 4 by 12, wow. So they must get huge, huh? I mean, they must be like trees, basically. Oh, this year is from seed, okay. That's really interesting. Like trees, 12 feet, yeah. Damn, wow. Wow. That must be cool to see. Can you get some video of that at some point, Chris? I'd love to see that. Yeah, that's true. Probably for machine, you're right. That's a machine harvest spacing, right? Where do you come through with it? You must come through with a combine, right? Tall straight plants for long fibers, yep, and super heavy seed production, lots of space and light and energy for each plant. Because I'm sure in good cultivation they get massive, yeah. Yeah, 6 foot around, that doesn't surprise me at all. I know I've seen videos in California of cannabis, which is similar growth stature of guys, I mean, you know, like they've got a plant the size of a building. It's ridiculous. It's just astounding how big they get. That must be really awesome to see, though. I'll tell you what, Chris, you get some video and talk about growing hemp, man. That's a gold mine for your YouTube channel, by the way. Gold mined. By hand. You harvest by hand. Leaves and buds for oil. No kidding. No fiber production at all, huh? Oh, and you're growing clones, so you're not getting seed then. You're doing all female? Is that the deal? That's why the clones. That's why the clones. So you get only bud, high oil production, and no males to contaminate it with seed if you don't want seed. That's why you're doing it that way. I got you. Hand cut, hand stripped. Wow. Wow. 25 acres. Damn. That's a lot to harvest, boy, by hand. Holy crap. Holy crap. Well, yeah, they could use feminized seed, but you know how hard it is to produce feminized seed? Yeah, that's why, Chris. Because when you do sensimilia, which is what that's called, and you don't allow that crop to produce any seed, then all that energy that goes into producing that seed instead goes into producing the essential oil of the plant, which in this case is CBD. And so that would greatly improve your essential oil production, which would make it much more profitable and much more high yield for CBD oil, if that's what you're growing specifically for. They probably have other cropping areas where they're doing non-feminized. The hippies would be flocking into help harvest. I don't know, Geeky. I think they'd be in Northern California, in Humboldt County, flocking to the high THC crops myself, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Yeah, harvesting's easy. Stripping and cleaning is hard, I'm sure. I'm sure. That's all by hand, huh? Wow. Man, that's a job. So, does that all go back? That must go back to a tobacco barn and dry? No, I know no THC on hemp. I was talking about all the hippies would be flocking to Northern California, not your place, because Northern California would have the THC stuff. It was a bad joke that I now have to explain. Such is life. Take the ride over where, Steve? To Cali? Cali's a long ride. They pay in ounces out there, yeah, they do. They sure do. I know some people on that side of things too. That's part of how I know so much about it. I ask a lot of questions. They get sick of me asking questions. In a tobacco barn, I figure, yeah. And you probably run heaters, right? And tobacco, though, is a little different drying process, I think, though. Don't you close tobacco barns up at night and then open them in the day, and you kind of build condensation overnight? Isn't that part of the curing process, or am I mistaken on that? Yeah, you know, if I was 20 years younger and dumber than I was then, I'd be out there too. I was just too dumb for my own good when I was 20 years younger. Really. Yeah, I outgrew that life too. Hippie hey. Yeah, I wish I could too, Chris, because with the foliar feeds I have here and the knowledge I have, I could grow some Class A, clean, healthy medicine for people. No chemicals. But New York is still hanging on by its brittle teeth till they break off in its own mouth. They did finally legalize medicinal use here, but it's all controlled. There's no dispensaries here. Most of the people I know that have medical cards have to drive to Massachusetts to even get anything. It's just, again, it's stupid. It's just dumb. This is a plant with medicinal compounds. What are you doing telling people they can't have it? Isn't this supposed to be a free country? It's not crazy weed, it's not local weed, it's not cocaine or heroin. People won't die from it. This is dumb. They stay closed 165 Fahrenheit with light humidity when you order it. Interesting. 165. Wow, that seems hot for drying anything. Yeah, I'm tired of being broke too, Chris. This fall, I'm figuring my way out to making more money. I realize I have to like capitalize on my own abilities and assets. I put together a lot of knowledge and assets, and now I just kind of have to like align them and organize them and manage them better so I can make decent money. So I don't have to go through another life crash where I have to move my entire farm, don't have anywhere to go, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I know, geeky. That's, yeah, that whole thing has become a financial runaway formula. It's the next real estate bubble. Like we had the real estate bubble and then the crash in 2008, and now it's the cannabis bubble. And who knows what'll be next. When the mapai turns it dark, you flash it. Huh, interesting. Yeah, Chris, man, dude, that's a gold mine in videos right there. Growing it, harvested it, drying it. I'm telling you, if you do videos on that, man, that's your channel will blow up. I'm telling you, it will blow up. That is one of your biggest YouTube opportunities. For sure, man. You should really take advantage of that. Okay, I've said it a bunch of times, so I'm sure you heard me and understood me, so I'll shut up now. I'm jealous that I don't have that content, is what I'm saying. Like you're jealous of my RAM pump. Can't film it. Well, you know what you do? Film it now. Make those videos now. Don't upload them because you can't right now. But at some point in the future, if it's legal for you to put those videos up, you'll have a whole goldmine library ready to go. Can't film it. This country, man, I swear. That's about the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Not legal to film it? Geeky. Well, I guess if you won't bring up your little spy cameras, Geeky, I won't talk about the GMO spy cameras I injected into Chris's clone plants so that each plant is a camera. Talk about Spy Central. You're growing spy cameras for me, Chris. Don't be surprised if we're headed into a world with that kind of thing, though, you know. They've already got bumblebees and hummingbirds that are actually drones for spying, believe it or not. They literally actually have those, they actually work. And they're working on smaller stuff. Can't even plant it with road access. I could see that. I wouldn't want to put it out on the road anyway. You'd have everybody and their brother all over your land. So that makes sense. But you should be able to film it. I mean, they're basically saying you can't film on your own land a crop that you're growing. Weird. Like canned film processing? You mean not do any editing? I'm not sure I understand how you mean. Not a cockroach. There you go, Geeky. I'd love to build all kinds of remote controlled camera stuff, but I just don't have the budget and time to do that on top of everything else I'm doing. But I do have some awesome greenhouse project stuff coming up this year. I'm looking forward to getting that really dialed in sweet. Law flies over daily, I'm sure. My old farm, when I had Roma plum tomatoes, I was on the back of a big farm, on the back side of a hill, so you couldn't see it from the main road. But it was all apple orchard, and then there was my plot, which is like a new plot that year. That year, while I was at work, I had my neighbor come to me after I came home from work. He's like, "Hey, you're never gonna believe this." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "The state police landed in their helicopter at your garden because they thought you were growing weed, and they like had to go over and look and realize they were tomato plants before they got back in the chopper and flew away." Well, if you can film in the barn, do it. Whatever they'll let you film, I mean, ask what you can film. Whatever you can do, Chris, I'm telling you, that's gold for your channel. And whatever you can't film, film it anyway, stash it, don't upload it, but when the opportunity presents itself and it becomes legal, if it does, then you have a gold mine library, and you can release them on like a once a week basis to keep, you know, new fresh content coming to your channel. That way, if you need to go on a vacation, or you injure yourself, or you get sick and you can't YouTube for a while, you can keep content flowing. It's just a thought. Yeah, Arduino. I gotta get an Arduino next, Geeky, because I can't wait to sub everything out to Arduinos for controls, and then just log data from the Pi. And then in another few months, I'm going to get a Pi 4, and that's going to become the farm server setup. And I'll harden it more, I'll lightning protect it, and put more hard drive space on it, and probably set it up with its own wireless interface. I want to put a Pi 0W or an Arduino or something on the tractor for monitoring all the tractor instrumentation, and then whenever it's within range, it'll send that to the database. It'll have data logs of tractor usage, run times, temperatures, all that. And then I got a dehydrator project with, I just uploaded the video today on some of the greenhouse stuff. There's a big, it's actually a baker's rack that I had turned into sort of a dehydrator, just with a fan for now, but I'm going to add thermal mass controls and an Arduino and airflow controls, so I can actually control temperature and airflow and humidity in that at some point, but that's a whole project. But yeah, got lots of ideas. $20 for a Uno for prototyping. Yeah, I'm not sure which one to get, Geeky, so I may actually have to talk to you about that. Oh. Oh, so once it's harvested later on, you could probably, you know, upload it once it's no longer a field that they could go steal from. That's what they're concerned about. That kind of makes sense. Of course, if they just legalize it, there'd be so much of it around, nobody would care. Or you put it behind electric fence. I think if I were growing it, I'd put it behind electric fence with signage. Caution, 20 million volts. Will fry you, barbecue, and bounce you back to my kitchen table. Sensors for... You've got sensors for what? Arduinos? Geeky? Probably can. Lots of stupid rules. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it must be a nightmare just wading through the legal stupid rules of that, huh? We got a guy in our town that runs a major farming operation. I guess he's got a license to grow some. I've heard he's growing some here. I was curious to stop and look at it, but I didn't want to be going on his property and looking at it without his permission. And I know he's busy, so I don't really want to bother him first time, so I haven't. Unlike other YouTubers, apparently, or YouTube watchers. Yeah, this won't get you high, but the fence will. There you go. Arduino, temp, humidity, moisture. Yeah, are you using DHT22s, Geeky, for that? From Adafruit? Oh, you have those? Really, Chris? Wow. Automatic criminal trespass. I would hope so. It should be. And that should go for any crop you're growing, really, for someone to cross your property line and steal for your crop. On that same old farm where I was telling you the state police landed thinking I was growing weed, and it turned out to be my tomatoes. on that same farm they had a like a fruit stand in the front, but in the fall there was pick your own apples, and so people would be back in the orchards picking apples. And I actually watched a girl sneak out of the apple orchard, sneak in under my electric fence, which fortunately for her was not on. I was wishing it was, because it would have been a real good show then. Steal a melon and sneak back out. So, you know, I just sat there like in awe of the audacity, and just figured, well, if she's willing to go steal a melon, she must really need it that bad. Let her have it. But sounds familiar. Yeah, DHT-22. It's a little white chip. I don't have one on my shelf at the moment, but yeah, I use those for humidity because it's the only really digital humidity sensor I can find. But with the Arduino, that has onboard ADC, doesn't it? So then I could run an analog humidity sensor, which I might do, because the DHT-22 works, but man, not all the time. That thing is glitchy as hell. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I know. That's the whole point. It's CBD only, no THC. The federal government still has something against THC and doesn't recognize that that has medicinal value as well. But the CBD has been scientifically proven, and they refuse to look at the THC any closer as of yet. Well, right, exactly. If she asked, hey, could I have a melon? I'd say, yeah, sure. But stealing was like, whatever. I guess she needs it better, more than I do, right? But, you know, I know where she was from, too. It's a local campus, and in general, they have that mentality, so I wasn't really surprised. But it just kind of was like, man, really? There's a DHT-11 and a DHT-22. The 22 is definitely better than the 11. The 11's a piece of garbage. But the 22 for $10 or whatever it is not great. I poll mine every minute, and 4 to 5 times a day it misreads. And I've got it set up to poll 5 or 6 times and look for, you know, a similar reading from before in my language, and it still throws out glitches. So, oh, that's what the signs say. Okay. No THC, no trespassing, automatic criminal trespass, do not cross, do not enter. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Was she cute? Who? Was who cute? Oh, the girl? You know, I wasn't close enough to tell. I guess she probably was. I mean, she was a college girl. You know, early college girl. But honestly, I was so annoyed at her, I didn't care if she was cute. Yeah, the 22, good, glad you passed on the 11, Geeky. You would have been disappointed. Those things caused me nothing but trouble. The 22's better. But really, if you can find an analog humidity sensor, I'd run an analog humidity sensor and a DS18V20 one-wire sensor for temperature. Save yourself the hassle and the glitching, believe me. The melon thief, yeah. Oh, now see, now you're giving me all kinds of ideas. What are you doing running off with mine? Don't you have your own? See, that's probably why it's best I didn't say anything to her. Because me, I would have come out with something smart ass, and she probably would have been offended, and God knows where it would have gone from there. It wouldn't have been worth my time. Anyway, guys, I gotta go harvest some delicata squash, and if I have time, some large leaf basil. Get them in the dehydrator setup. So I think I'm going to go ahead and close this stream out. Thank you guys all for participating. Always excellent conversation. I enjoy all your company. Thanks as always for an excellent live stream. Really enjoy talking to you guys. This net used to be kind of frustrating for me when no one would show up, because I just sit here kind of wasting my time, but you guys make it more bearable. Someone to talk to, and good discussion, and I think we all have like minds, so it's fun as always. So thank you. Good night, everyone. 7 threes, as we say. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network. I appreciate it. Take care.